I said last show that it was the best Sabre game of the year. I think they just topped it. Sabres 6, Rangers 1. We'll talk about a huge win coming up here on the Locked On Sabres podcast.
Your Locked On Sabres, your daily podcast on the Buffalo Sabres. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into today's episode of the Locked On Sabres podcast, and making us your first listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcast. That includes our YouTube channel, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Sneaky Joe DiBiase on a Friday morning after an enormous win on the scoreboard, really, but also for the season. Sabres over the Rangers by a 6-1 score. We'll talk about the game, how it happened, the goal scorers, the numbers from this game, and also what lies ahead, because they really are now setting themselves up for a big opportunity to have a season here. We're just kind of waiting in flux. Can they put a 3, 4, 5 game stretch together to make it feel like this season is actually going to get off the ground? And these last 2 games are really back to giving us hope that they could do that. They did it earlier with the 3-game win streak, but then they offset that with a 3-game losing streak. Now here is a chance to kind of get rolling here. And it's 11-2 Sabres over their opponent this week, beating Ottawa 5-1 earlier in the week, and then beating the Rangers. The Rangers, top team in the league this year. One of the top teams in the league this year. Best defensive team in hockey so far this season. Lots of goals, too. You went to that building on the road and beat the best goalie in the league, arguably 6-1, and chased him in the second period. What a performance by the Sabres. I do think it tops Tuesday night in Ottawa as their best game of the season. And you know, they deserve credit for a 4-line performance in this one. It was, I thought, a great game by all 4 lines. But what's rare is getting a good game from the Cousins line. And you got a good game from the Cousins line in this one. The numbers showed it at the end of the game. The 3 stars of the game. Who was the number 1 star from that line? Zach Benson. Zach Benson was incredible. What a play, what a pass he makes to Dylan Cousins on his goal. His first 5-on-5 goal of the year, by the way, Cousins. Benson set him up. Benson also closed out the game with a 6-1 power play goal in the third period. And when you look at the Sabre forward lines throughout this game, that line actually was the most dominant by far. Shot attempts of the Sabres. It was their best line. They were on the ice at 5-on-5 for over 10 minutes together. They had, when they were out there, Cousins, Quinn, Benson, 14 shot attempts for, 7 against. So they doubled up the Rangers in shot attempts when they were out there. They had 8 shots on goal, 1 for the Rangers when they were out there. 8-1 were the shots when those 3 were on the ice. They won the scoreboard 1-0 at 5-on-5. Benson's goal was power play. Scoring chances when the Cousins line was out there were Sabres 6, Rangers 2. Everything was in favor of that line. It was their best game. Quinn still looks slow to me. He still gets caught, and there are plays where he gives the puck away that are just right there to be seen by everybody. But Cousins was great. Benson, they all played off each other really well. Very, very impressed with that line last night. Chasing Igor Shesterkin. I don't know if fans know what an accomplishment that is. Chasing Igor Shesterkin in the second period. And a couple of the goals were absolutely his fault that he should have stopped. The first one by Rasmus Dahlin. I mean, just you need a save in that spot. But to chase him in the second, look at his. I mean, this year he hasn't had a game like that. He was number 1 or number 2 in the league going into the game in save percentage. He gave up 6 earlier in a year, but that 6th goal came in overtime. So 6 in 65 minutes versus 5 goals allowed in 33 minutes. You're not going to find many games in Igor Shesterkin's career that are worse than that. And he is one of the best goalies in hockey. Even after last night's game, he's standing with a .920 save percentage. He was much higher than that. I think he was number 1 in hockey going into the game. and the Sabres took him right off of that pedestal. So great game overall. Some of the numbers from the game on the overall, Sabres were up for a lot of the game. So, that means second period, it's 5-0. And it should have been 6-0, but J.J. Peterka scores a goal over Shesterkin's shoulder. It gets reviewed for offside that had happened way before. Offside challenge, I think there needs to be some rule adjustment that there has to be a medium amount of time. If the offside directly relates to the goal, if they score 10 seconds after, then okay. If it's 40 seconds after, we're not taking it off the board. There needs to be an adjustment, I think, to the offside review. So, but that being said, it should have been 6-0 in the second. It was 5-0. The Sabres were just on cruise control for most of the game. So the numbers end up skewed a little bit, but Rangers outshoot the Sabres 26-22 on the night. The Sabres go 1 for 4 on the power play. The power play continues to be pretty good in the last week or week and a half. Not great, but 1 for 4. They get the goal at the end. Nice little backdoor pass from Quinn to Benson to get it. So the power play's been okay. Overall, shot attempts in this game, 42 for the Rangers at 5-on-5, 27 for the Sabres. Scoring chances for 21-16 for the Rangers. Expected goals for 68% Rangers. But if you go to the middle of the game, where was all of this? Middle of the game, it was all 50-50, right down the middle. So what does that tell you? It tells you Shesterkin really let the Rangers down in this game. But the Sabres, while they might not have been playing 5-0 good, they were a little bit in their edge. I mean, when they made it 5, when they were going on their run, actually, Corsi 4 was 50-50. Expected goals for, when it was that score, was Sabres. It was in favor of the Sabres. So they were just a smidgen, even modestly, outplaying the New York Rangers. That's an accomplishment in itself. Maybe you shouldn't have been up 5-0. But you should have been up 2 or 3-0, maybe. They were outplaying the Rangers in their barn on the road. That's an impressive result. And they got some help from Shesterkin by a poor goalie performance. Another good performance, by the way, from Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. So I would think he continues going forward. Let's get to some goal breakdowns when we come back. Go through the goals, the most important ones, some of the most notable ones, and what I saw on those. So we'll continue to break down Sabres and Rangers when we come back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Today's episode of the Locked On Sabres podcast is brought to you by Gametime. Gametime has this new feature called Gametime Picks. It makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Filters out all the fluff. You only get incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. You could use the app to check out the views from your seat. That's what I like. You get to see exactly what you're going to look for, the angle in which you like. Very user-friendly for if you want to pick a certain section and you want to zoom in on it. This seat, you're highlighted that way. You can use the map setting as well. Very user-friendly, very easy to go through Gametime. They have tickets available right up to the time of the event. I shared my story from a couple weeks ago where thought I had tickets to a game. I didn't. We're in front of the arena. Bam. Gametime in 30 seconds. I've got tickets. We go into the game and we watch them beat the Dallas Stars. So check out Gametime. Make sure you check out their exclusive zone deals as well. A bunch of different ways to save money. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. Today's episode of the Locked On Sabres podcast also brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Get ready to tackle all the NFL action for the rest of the season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com and the FanDuel app for FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Sabres 6, Rangers 1. 6-7-1 on the season for the Buffalo Sabres, looking to get back to 500. Let's go through some of the goals from this game, and we'll start right in the first period. The Sabres get off to another good start. in this hockey game. And this line has been working hard and been very good. The McLeod, Zucker, Greenway line. They had a couple of goals like this on the night. The first goal is a forced turnover by a good forecheck. McLeod is on Lindgren, the Ranger defenseman, forces the turnover. Zucker's there to gather it. Then Zucker and McLeod work the wall. It's so effortlessly. Zucker knows where McLeod is. You see the chemistry. McLeod throws it back to the point. And now it's just a pitch and catch. It's Byram over across to Dahlin. And Dahlin has got an open scoring chance in the faceoff circle. So this is where the Sabres deserve credit for the goal, but you also have to acknowledge they get a little bit lucky. The play itself is fantastic. It's a great forecheck by McLeod. It's great board work by McLeod and Zucker. It's a perfect pass over from Byram to Dahlin. The Sabres have done the work to get this puck over to Rasmus Dahlin by himself in the faceoff circle with traffic in front. Greenway's in front of the net, and Adam Fox is in front of the net. The whole setup is perfect. Then you need to get a little bit lucky because Dahlin kind of puts a soft wrister along the ice through the 5-hole of Igor Shesterkin. 95 times out of 100, you want your goalie to make that save. 99 times out of 100, you want your goalie to make that save, honestly. But it gets by Shesterkin. So again, they deserve total credit as a whole unit getting through to that scoring chance. But then you really needed Shesterkin to flub it because Dahlin, I don't even know if he was shooting. It almost looked like he was passing the puck into the net. Whatever. 1-0. They deserve credit. Let's fast forward to the second period where the Sabres make it 2-0. Not even 3 minutes in, another fast start to a period. And this is the Cousins line. The Cousins line that had their best game of the season. It's Benson and it is Cousins here. Cousins, the puck's in the corner, and Benson's got it. And Benson sees Cousins coming down the wing untouched. And Benson knows right where to put it. He's such a good passer. He's such a smart player. He even draws in the defenseman a little bit. Puck's right out in front of Cousins. And now this is just Cousins from a spot that he's going to need to score from if he wants to be worth his contract. Same spot, by the way, as Dahlin scoring for him. Cousins has got the puck right in the faceoff dot, and you're one-on-one with Igor Shesterkin, best goalie in the world. He's having an off night, though. You blasted by him on the glove side for a goal. Big confidence-boosting goal maybe from Cousins. He's a player that we've talked about. Is he lacking confidence? That's a goal that maybe could help rebuild his confidence, being able to beat Shesterkin one-on-one like that. 2-0 Sabres. Now, they go 10 minutes back and forth with the Rangers. They don't get another goal, scoring chances both ways. The game is still very much live. This is one where it's 2-0, and it's going to come down to whoever gets the next goal is going to determine this game. If the Sabres get the next one, it's going to feel like it's over. Rangers get the next one, all momentum for them, even though they're down 1. This third goal, it's a nice play by Connor Clifton. Connor Clifton is on the ice with the Tage line. Clifton's got the puck at center, and he does the right thing. Let me throw it over to Peterka on the wall. And I'm going to head to the net. I'm going to create the odd man rush, and I'm going to drive the Ranger defenseman back. Clifton, who doesn't make plays like this often because it's not really his game, throws it over to Peterka, and by driving to the net, even though Peterka is only at the blue line, he forces the Ranger defenseman back, which creates a vacuum in the middle of the ice because now the Ranger defensemen have to be lower than they want to be. And that creates this space that Clifton creates. So for Peterka, it's easy. And Tuck, by the way, Tuck does the job too because he takes the center down low also. So this is like a play. It's like a football play. Clifton and Tuck take the coverage with them. And now Peterka is maybe the quarterback in this spot, has the easiest job ever. I just got to put this out in front of an open Tage Thompson. Thompson is entering all that open space. And now you've got Tage, open wrist shot, high slot, very high slot. So he's got some distance, but he's got to wire it past Shesterkin, and it's an amazing shot. It's a beautiful shot. It's a shot that Tage had 2 years ago all the time. And it's why he's on a 50-plus goal pace right now is because he is scoring on that look right now. But the play that precedes it sets him up for that opportunity, makes it 3-0. A great overall scoring opportunity by the Sabres to get their best player a chance like that. So that was the 3-0 goal. Now let's fast forward to 4-0. We're back to the Zucker line, And we're back to, remember the first goal I said, the whole thing started with McLeod forechecking. That's where they forced the turnover, and then they worked it out from there. This time it's Zucker on the forecheck. This line is harassing the defenseman all night. Guess who it is again, by the way, that turns up over the puck? It's Lindgren. Lindgren again for the New York Rangers is the guy, 55. They're all over him, and the Sabres force another turnover. This time, though, Zucker is the one that's applying the pressure, and he forces the turnover. But not only does he then force the turnover, Zucker is so good right now. He is playing so fantastic for the Buffalo Sabres. And on this play where he gets an assist, he gets his 8th assist of the season. He's at 11 points in 14 games. What a signing he has been so far for the Sabres. And not only that, it is, I believe if you go back to game number 8, it's a point per game. Yeah. 6 points, 7 points in his last 7 games for Jason Zucker. He walks out with the puck, and the move, the stick handling, he gets Shesterkin to buy in that he's going to walk to the net and shoot. And he also gets Adam Fox sucked into that also because he does this dangle, forehand, backhand, forehand, and then it's a slide pass through the legs of Adam Fox to Jordan Greenway, who's got the entire net. The whole net. Easiest goal of Jordan Greenway's career. 100% created by Jason Zucker. I would give Zucker 95% of the credit on this play. Greenway's got to finish, but he forces the turnover, walks out in front, draws the goalie, draws the defenseman, past the Greenway in the perfect spot. What a goal. What a play by Jason Zucker to get this into a 4-0 game. So those were, to me, the big four. At that point, the game is over. You get your goals by Zach Benson. You get your goal by Sam Lafferty before that. So all the lines were in on it. What a game by the Buffalo Sabres. And those first 4 goals, I mean, they were just terrific plays all the way around. Even if you needed, only one of those really you needed to get lucky. It's just giving up an easy one. All right, when we come back, what's ahead? The Sabres have a real big opportunity here to get on a run. That will come back here on the Locked On Sabres podcast with Sneaky Joe DiBiase. Today's episode of the Locked On Sabres podcast brought to you by Indeed. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed's your matching hiring platform, over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day. Indeed's matching engine constantly learning from your preferences. So the more that you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners to this show get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. So go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Final segment here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. The Sabres are on a 2-game streak here, 2 wins in a row, 6-7-1 opportunity to get back to 500. And here's where I'm looking at the next stretch of games. You got tomorrow afternoon, against Calgary at home. Monday at home against Montreal, afternoon game again, 12:30. Thursday at home against St. Louis, and then Saturday on the road against Philadelphia. The Sabres in the next 8 days, they're presented with another opportunity. The whole Atlantic Division, the whole Eastern Conference, is just stuck in the mud. Everyone's right in between. Everyone's within 4 points of each other. We're just waiting for 1, 2, 3 of these Eastern Conference teams that are in the middle to break out. And the Sabres could be one of them. They could not. A lot of other teams could. Detroit, Boston early on, a lot of them. The next 4 games, and even beyond that, the next 7, big opportunity. Let's start with the next 4-game streak, though. Calgary, about a 500 hockey team. Barely in a playoff spot in the West right now. About where the Sabres are. Montreal, bad hockey team. St. Louis, 500 hockey team. 2 500 hockey teams and a bad team, all at home in the next 3 games. Then on the road at a bad Flyers team. So you got 3 winnable home games followed by a winnable road game. Then you go out west. And this is where you can say it gets tough because, okay, on the road at LA, that's tough. Then you're on the road at Anaheim and San Jose, who are really bad hockey teams. They play in the next 7, 3 home games against middling teams, and then 4 road games, 3 of which are against horrible teams. That is a 7-game stretch where they could easily go 5-1-1. If they play like they have this week, we're talking about a potential 5-1-1 stretch. I think that's a realistic goal for them. And they're going to have a stretch like that. They have to do it. One of these weeks, one of these stretches, one of these years, they have to have a stretch like that. This is a glorious opportunity for it. I know you're going out west, but the strength of opponent in the next 7 days is not that difficult. And then it turns up a little bit after that. So you're going to want to bank these wins in the next 7, especially these 3 at home that are coming up. So next up, Sabres and Flames. Again, a 500 hockey team. Sabres could win that game. I would not expect any lineup changes. I think you're going to see Samuelsson and Jokiharju scratched again. I don't think you're going to see Devin Levi anytime soon, as while Luukkonen is riding hot here. Luukkonen has played 7 of the last 8. And I would expect that is going to continue until he slows down. He had another good game last night against the New York Rangers. So that's what's ahead in the next week or so coming up for the Sabres. This 2-game streak here against Ottawa and the Rangers sets them up to really have a big, big month of November and get into a nice spot somewhere in the playoffs. All right, it's going to do it for us today here on the Locked On Sabres podcast. Next up, the Sabres and the Flames at 1 o'clock. You want to become a member of our Locked On Sabres text club. Stay up to the minute on all these things that are happening. Join subtext.com/LockedOnSabres. Check out for your next listen, Locked On Fantasy Hockey with Steal and Flip. Got you covered on all your daily tips. Thanks for listening to Locked On Sabres podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.